Springfield Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting is called to order. Please stand and we'll say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for attending tonight's monthly meeting. We are sad to send our condolences to the Hilliard family, Alice Hilliard. She was with the water department for 20 years. She's passed away, and she will be so missed by the city of Springfield. We all loved Alice, and we send our condolences to her family. It's been a sad, sad month. On a good note, Ms. Holt is retiring. Just joking, Gina. Had to break the ice. Miss Holt is the first city manager, all jokes aside, first city manager to retire from the city of Springfield. She's been here for a very long time. We love and adore her, even though we love to pick on her, and that was a joke. We are going to miss you.
Well, thank you.
All these department heads sitting out here tonight, I can speak for them because I know how much they care for you and love you and have enjoyed working with you for over 25 years. And we are all going to miss you.
Well, thank you.
I didn't want to make you cry.
I was trying to say, so move on.
That's the reason I had to start with a joke. And if you know Ms. Holt the least little bit, you know she loves to carry on and have a good time while she works very hard for the city of Springfield. And she's not going anywhere. She's still going to be in Springfield and participating. And I know Mr. Martin will be calling on her, and we'll all be calling on you. And we're going to ask you to volunteer for a lot of these committees that we need people to serve. And you do live in Mr. Harris's ward, so well, he'll keep that in mind, I'm sure. If he,
I think Ryan's going to call her during budget season, work part-time.
do you mind volunteering to do the budget?
Oh, yeah, I'll volunteer, and then it's easy, and I can just cut. I don't want to.
Miss Holt has worked for Doug Bishop, Paul Nutting, and herself here as the leader of our group. And we have just adored you, and we will continue to love on you and your family. And we're going to go into your last meeting, and I know you have a lot of notes for the city manager's report, because you want to set a good example for Mr. Martin coming up. We'll get started. 1.2. Sir.
Since we almost started together, it has been a pleasure seeing her work through some of the early trials and tribulations. She's always been a backbone. She's always been a person of reason. So, Gina,
Well, thank you.
you know I'm going to miss you.
Thank you. 1.2, the approval of our minutes for our regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen held November 17th, 2020. Are there any corrections? No corrections? We're ready to vote. Motion made by Vice Mayor Harris, a second by Alderman Arnold. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the vote.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 1.3, discuss and possible take action on the election of a vice mayor. Do we have a motion to discuss? Motion made by Alderman Trotter, a second made by Alderman Gregg. Discussion. Yes, sir, Mr. Trotter.
I make a motion that we vote Mr. Tim Harris to retain the position of vice mayor.
Okay.
Second.
Y'all need to hit your button.
It says amend.
Hit your button.
Okay. Motion has been made to continue Vice Mayor Tim Harris in that position again. Is there discussion? No discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their votes? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-1.
Congratulations, Vice Mayor Harris.
Thank you.
Good job, Bill.
I would also like to welcome tonight for the first time Miss Emily Green down on the very end. We are so happy to have you.
Thank you.
Alderman Lisa Arnold was also elected during this election, and Vice Mayor Tim Harris are all back.
And the current mayor.
Oh, and myself.
She wasn't gonna bring it up.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna bring that up. Emily, we're so glad to have you among us.
Thank you.
Moving on to our public hearing, 1.4. Our first public hearing is ordinance 20-23, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2021's annual budget for the city of Springfield by amending certain general fund operating budgets. Is there anyone that'd like to speak to the public hearing? Please come to the mic. If no one would like to speak, the public hearing is closed. We'll move on to our legislative agenda. 2.1, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 20-21 on a third and final reading. Ordinance amending section 11-605 of the Springfield zoning ordinance entitled Commercial Service Districts by amending section A, E, and G. Do we have a motion to discuss? Motion made by Alderman Gregg and a second by Alderman Arnold. Questions on this third and final reading? No discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
2.2, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 20-22 on a third and final reading. Ordinance rezoning one parcel located in the 9th Civil District on Bill Jones Industrial Drive from R10 Medium Density Residential District to MRO Multiple Residential and Office District. Do we have a motion to discuss and a second? Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Green. Questions on this third and final reading? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.3, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 20-23 on a second reading. An ordinance amending the fiscal year 2021's annual budget of the city of Springfield by amending certain general fund operating budgets. Motion made by Vice Mayor Harris, a second by Alderman Hubbard. Questions on any of these changes? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.4, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 20-24 on a first reading, or ordinance rescinding ordinance 13-13 in its entirety and amending Title 18 of the Springfield Municipal Codes entitled Water and Wastewater by rescinding Chapter 3 entitled Sewage Disposal in its entirety and substituting a new Chapter 3 entitled Sewer Disposal to read as set forth in Exhibit A attached. Please read this.
Ordinance 20-24, an ordinance rescinding ordinance 13-13 in its entirety and amending Title 18 of the Springfield Municipal Code entitled Water and Wastewaters by rescinding Chapter 3 3 entitled Sewage Disposal in its entirety and substituting a new Chapter 3 entitled Sewage Disposal to read as set forth in Exhibit A attached. Whereas, in order to protect the public health and safety, uniform requirements have been established for the disposal of wastewaters for all users of the publicly owned treatment works for the city of Springfield, Tennessee, and whereas it is necessary to keep regulations for sewage disposal updated and compliant with all federal and state requirements. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. Ordinance 13-13 is hereby rescinded in its entirety, and Title 18 of the Springfield Municipal Code entitled Waters and Wastewaters is hereby amended by rescinding Chapter 3 entitled Sewage Disposal in its entirety and substituting a new Chapter 3 entitled Sewage Disposal in its entirety to read as set forth in Exhibit A attached. All ordinances, resolutions, and policies in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to discuss? Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Green. You probably are going to have questions and discussions about this. Yes, sir.
Can you give us a recap of exactly what this is, so the public will know also?
Mr. Terry Beers is coming to the mic to answer these questions.
Thank you. Take this off a minute. Fogged up. Yeah, I won't get into a lot about how we came about having to do this. It came about from some orders and things from the state of Tennessee. But the changes that we're making primarily have to do with the enforcement response plan, our pre-treatment, things that have kind of archaic going back to 2011, 2013. We made changes to like just the definitions, prohibitions, monitoring, record keeping, compliance schedules. What this does allows for us on our pre-treatment customers that they have to adhere to these certain guidelines. They have to do this, this, and this. They have permits and they have limits they have to keep into compliance. And this is very detailed on what I included through here, but it primarily is just the changes to the pre-treatment program and enforcement response plan and the guidelines we have to follow when we do have someone that's not in compliance. That sums it up right there, I think.
Okay. Other questions?
Is this non-compliance, is it with industry or?
Yes, this is just strictly pre-treatment on industrial customers. That's what this pertains to.
Okay.
And it's something that we have to send to EPA. I mean, they have
Well,
to.
I was going to say, if you don't mind, I'll go elaborate a little bit. First, it went through the EPA. Then, we were 3 years getting all this passed, and then it went to the state of Tennessee. It was an arduous process there. The final process being accepted by the city and this board through 3 readings, and finally, everyone's on the same page from the EPA, state of Tennessee, and the city of Springfield. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
Okay. Other questions? Other questions while he's in the mic? Thank you.
Thank you.
Other discussion? No other discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.5, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 20-41, a resolution declaring certain properties surplus and authorizing the disposal of such properties. Do we have a motion? Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, second by Alderman Gregg. Discussion on this disposal we do every month. No questions? Come on now, we got to ask Ms. Holt lots of questions. Ready for a vote? Anyone like to change their votes? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.6, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 20-42, a resolution accepting the streets and the right-of-way improvements of Robmont subdivision, Robmont LLC owner, and accepting a maintenance bond for said streets and infrastructure in the right-of-way and the easement of said subdivision. Have a motion to discuss. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Arnold. Any discussion on Rob Mott?
Where's Rob Mott subdivision located?
Going down 431, headed out of town on the right-hand side, it's where the cul-de-sac has been there forever across the street from where the hospital property is. That vacant land, it's just right before where South Main comes out.
Okay. Any other questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.7, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 20-43, a resolution accepting an irrevocable letter of credit by Bernstein Construction, LLC, in the amount of $107,583 in order to guarantee the completion of streets, drainage, and electrical improvements in the Oakland Farms subdivision, Phase 3, Section 8. Motion made to discuss by Vice Mayor Harris, a second by Alderman Hubbard. Any questions? Pretty straightforward. No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 2.8, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 20-44, a resolution amending the City of Springfield Personnel Policy Manual. We need a motion to discuss and a second. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second made by Vice Mayor Harris. Questions? Discussion?
I had one quick question.
Please.
Gina, as far as the lineman one goes, I think it's 3.02. Can you explain what kind of led to that? I read a little bit about how there was, a probationary period and stuff like that. You were trying to eliminate confusion there.
Well, on the administration of the pay plan 3.02 for the lineman apprenticeship program, what apparently is pretty common in the industry. When our apprentices go through a program, they have the graduated steps, and when they graduate and they turn to journeyman linemen, we have always had them go to a step, and it's not always the same step as the other journeyman linemen. So they all think that they should be paid equally. So it just turns out that all of our journeyman linemen are at the same step and level. They're all getting the same pay. But when we have these younger ones come up and graduate from the apprentice program, then they would be doing the same thing for a lesser amount. And so we found out, we've been talking about it for years, that this is pretty much a standard practice in the industry. And so this was a way to take care of that so that they would all be, but by doing that, because everything else, you can't really do it based on merit. Because if they're all going to make the same thing and somebody's not performing to a satisfactory level, then that would change everything, and they wouldn't all be on the same level. So we had to pretty much take away the merit increase that's automatically built into the pay plan and say that it will be a cost of living going forward. So that's sort of it in summary.
Thank you.
Okay. Other questions for Ms. Holt?
So are you saying by that, though, that someone that's been here 20 years is going to make the same thing as somebody who's been here a year?
Yes, and that's what we always thought. Why would somebody that's been here 20, 25 years want to make the same thing? But they do. They all agreed that that's the way they wanted it. Because they say they're all doing the same work. Now, that's the electric industry. You won't find that anywhere else.
That's pretty much been a standard thing across the board?
Yeah.
Okay.
When they get that journeyman card, they're qualified and certified to do a variety of things. And they all do the same work day after day after day.
Okay.
I guess I want to ask this question.
Yes, sir.
Are we retaining our journeymen, but not lose them like at one point we was losing a few?
So I don't know the history. Ms. Holt can tell you the backstory, but I know now our journeymen are with us, and we have a potential shuffling around of some employees in the next some employees are progressing up into other jobs, and I'm told that we have some interested in applying for a journeyman job, so it must be working.
And one of the things that we also risked losing was someone graduating from the apprentice program, because they could go somewhere else and make a lot more money. So this definitely helps retain one, that a fairly recent one.
I know that's been a problem. Mr. Martin, you had something?
Just wanted to add that this was done in the budget. This was actually done in the
Right.
budget for this year. It was when we moved up those linemen, so I think it is working out very well. We're just memorializing in the personnel policy manual, so we have planned to bring you all updates about once a year, if there's been any changes to the law or things like that. That's what this is. These are cleanups, clarifications, and then additions if we've done something differently. So this is done in the budget, so they're already moved up to that level, and I think it's working.
Right.
That's good.
Okay. Yes, sir, Mr. Trotter?
With the changes about the insurance being the personnel policy manager.
No, that's not, that's part of the health insurance plan.
Okay.
And when the Board of Mayor and Aldermen approves the budget, you're approving all of the costs for the health plan. So that change is not spelled out because it's part of the insurance plan itself.
Because I guess my other alderman like myself has been getting several phone calls.
They have.
Yes.
Yes. I
And
think we've
feel
all-
free to talk to us about that, because we can explain it.
Well, the new city manager has been helpful on that.
Okay.
Good. Other questions?
Just one more question. For the journeyman lineman, is there an opportunity to advance in career? Is there a position above that, or is that kind of like the top level for that experience or that skill set?
Well, there's a crew leader.
Okay.
So once that is a step up. And then there is the operations superintendent, and of course, then goes the director.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they do have an upward path if they so choose.
Good questions. Other questions?
I'll just bring up
Yes, sir.
one point, Mayor, since Mr. Trotter brought it up. I have received several calls concerning this insurance issue. And I just want the employees to know it's not that we do not care or we are not concerned about it. It's just this is in the day-to-day operation of the city that we don't have, so we do vote on this as far as being a whole in the budget. The budget as a whole, but not individually. It's the new time we're in, I guess.
Insurance is one of those things that is a moving target every year. We face that at the jobs that we work at. The city of Springfield faces that. These are hard decisions to make, and we've all had to make them.
And I just want them to understand that it's not that we're not concerned about it, but that is the day-to-day operation of the city manager, and I don't feel that I have any other option but to refer them to get an explanation that they need.
Thank you for pointing that out tonight. Any more discussion? No more discussion? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.1, discuss and possible take action on the adjustments in the retail electric rates of the Springfield Electric Department due to a wholesale fuel cost adjustments by the Tennessee Valley Authority. Do we have a motion to discuss? Motion made by Alderman Hubbard and a second by Alderman Trotter. Mr. Steve Sachs, do you have good news?
The good news is 1.1% increase,
That's not good news.
better than a 5%.
Now that you point that out, yes, sir, I guess you're right. You're just trying to make us feel better. Any questions? No questions, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
3.2, discuss and possible take action on the adjustment of the monthly gas rates of the Springfield Gas Department. Do we have a motion? Motion made by Alderman Trotter and a second by Alderman Green. Mr. Riddle?
Well, I don't have good news because the
What's-
purchase gas adjustment's up 23.5%.
Woo!
But, let me soften the blow. When you look back on your 13 month, it's almost identical, the same price as it was December of last year.
Okay. No, we can't. Any discussion, questions? We do this every month for the electric and the gas department. No discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.3, discuss and possible take action to approve an agreement in the amount of $17,500 for Stephen E. Arts and Associates of Springfield, Tennessee for surveying services for the War Trace Interceptor project. Do we have a motion to discuss? Motion made by Alderman Hubbard and a second by Vice Mayor Harris. Questions on this? Do we have a question? Alderman Hubbard?
You know, maybe this is $17,000. Anyone like to just explain it to the public?
Okay.
Company is getting tight on us spending money.
Mr. Beers is coming back to the microphone, and he will be happy to answer any questions
I'm
you
sorry,
have.
what are you asking, sir?
Just explain,
This is $17,500. This is for the surveying services. We're going to have to acquire, I think, 27 easements for this particular interceptor line. And we're hiring Mr. Arts for that, for the surveying. He's going to create the actual survey, the drawing, the legal description, and then it goes over to the city attorney and create the easement, and then there's the acquisition process. But that's what this is here. Steve's going to do, or Mr. Arts, going to do the actual creation of the easements.
We just want the public.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions while he's there, the mic? Pretty straightforward. Thank you. Any more discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.4, discuss and possible take action to approve the change order number 2 in the amount of $5,621.66 to the Cumberland Valley contractors for the wastewater treatment plant upgrade project. The new contract amount will be $1,039,820.34. Do we have a motion to discuss? Motion made by Alderman Hubbard and a second by Alderman Green. Questions on this project?
Just a comment.
Yes, sir.
overall. I was on the Greenway this morning and I just looked at that big, beautiful wastewater tank there, and just, this time last year was all muddy and stuff, so I want to thank you and your crew for getting it finished. It really looks nice out there.
Any other questions? Discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. 3.5, discuss and possible take action on the appointments to the various boards and commissions. Do we have a motion made by Vice Mayor Harris, a second by Alderman Trotter? Okay, these were on your iPad of the new people being appointed. Are there any questions, changes? Ms. Holt?
We updated the list probably an hour ago, maybe 2 hours ago. So if you haven't refreshed your the Dropbox, then you probably don't realize that everything has been filled in now except for 3 positions on the Construction Board of Adjustments and Appeals, and that's wards 1, 3, and 5. And so didn't know if you all had any suggestions. I just checking, but everything else has been filled in as far as the appointments.
Ward 1 want to retain his.
Okay.
Mr. Batson?
So Mr. Batson, he okay.
Okay. Any other?
I think there was a question about Mr. Boyer living in the ward, right?
He does not live in Ward 3, he lives at War Trace Lake. So I have asked a gentleman and I'm waiting for an answer.
Okay. And then Ward 5?
I left a voicemail, but I don't think that I had the right number.
Okay.
So if we can get that, I can
get that for you.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so those can come back next
Okay.
month. They don't meet monthly.
So the only one that we're
Adding
adding
is Blake.
is Blake Batson. Make sure we understand that.
May I make a
Yes, sir.
point? Sometimes we don't have people in the ward that has the expertise for these boards, and that's why we have been generous over the years to go out of our ward and appoint other people.
Yes, sir. Okay. Any more discussion about this list, this slate of nominees? Any more discussion? No more discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. And I want to also thank these people that have served a very long time. There's a lot of folks that are coming off these boards that have served the city of Springfield for a very long time on the planning, the construction, the Board of Zoning, the Adult Entertainment, and the Housing Authority. These are all volunteer jobs, and we appreciate what they've done for the city of Springfield. We're ready for our consent doc.
Without objection, I move we take it as one.
Okay. Motion's been made that we take this all as one.
Second.
Okay. Hold on just a second.
Who made the second?
Mr. Trotter, Mr. Hubbard.
One of the two.
Yeah, but I think
Ms.
Trotter
Trotter.
informed me on
Okay. The motion was made by Vice Mayor Harris and a second by Alderman Trotter. Are there any questions for the consent doc? No discussion, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Our next report will be Miss Gina Holt, our city manager's last city report. All jokes aside, I love to kid her. She's done a great job. Ryan, you got big shoes to fill. We've all enjoyed working with you over the years. How many years is it? 25 plus?
Well, it's 29 years and 3 months. Not that anybody's counting.
You have well earned your retirement.
Well, thank you, and yeah, put pressure on me for this last report. My goodness. First of all, on a serious note, I would like to echo what Mayor Schneider said about sending our condolences to the Alice Hilliard family. Alice was a staple at the water department, wastewater department. She'd been there for 23 years, over 20 years, and I think she was at, those of us that have been here a long time, she may have been at the Public Works Department, I think is where she started. So she's had a tremendous record and was the voice of the wastewater department for a long time, and we really miss her, and but we do express our condolences and sympathy to her family, and she's got a large family. Also, wanted to remind everyone about Winter Wonderland. Now, if you haven't been out since they changed it to the drive-through, you think, well, that's not going to be as good. Oh my goodness, it's fabulous. It's from now through December 23rd. Every night during the week, so it's not just on weekends. You can drive through there. I went through last night and there was a steady stream of traffic between 6:30 and 7, and there are lights everywhere. It's very impressive. So it's easy to go, so please go. They have worked so hard on this. Please go through. I think you'll really be impressed. And I think it's on Fridays and Saturdays that Santa and Mrs. Claus are there.
I think they had to fly out for this week.
Oh, okay. Well, there's no Santa this year, kiddies.
All right, Jim, there's gonna be more calls.
Well, I saw Santa there.
They gotta go get ready for Christmas.
Well, I'm leaving. There's no Santa. No, I'm kidding. Okay, again, on a serious note.
Move to adjourn.
Not yet.
I'm kidding.
No.
She gets to talk till
Okay.
the hour's up.
I've got another 25
still got-
minutes. No, on the serious note, I want to recognize and congratulate the police department again for receiving their 4th accreditation. For the Tennessee Law. And I think there are only 8 in the state that have received 4. And this is incredibly hard work. It's a 3-year process, so it's not done every year, and it's voluntary. And they have to go through, they have to meet so many benchmarks and measures on professionalism, their readiness. I mean, they have to go through, it's very, very in-depth. And for them to do that and to do it voluntarily shows the commitment of the department and the professionalism. And we're very, very fortunate here in Springfield to have them. So I want to thank Chief Head and Captain Leonard and the others for their very hard work. And last, I do want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be your city manager for almost 4 years. I really have enjoyed working with each one of you, even though now Alderman Green, it's only been a very short period of time, but I really have. I think we're positioned very well. I feel good about it. I feel good about our department heads. I feel good about the incoming city manager. I think we're headed in the right direction, and I am going to miss you all. I'm not going to get emotional, but I will say I'll be watching it on TV, and I'll enjoy it a lot more. And I am going to be around, and I'm going to stay involved and do things in the community. But I am going to miss you all very, very much. So thank you.
We're going to come knock on your door, so don't worry.
And that's all I have.
It's not over yet. I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year. I look forward to 2021 and this COVID to be over. It has been a very hard year on our citizens and our staff. And I want to tell you what a wonderful job each and every one of your departments has done. It's affected all of us. Nobody's been immune to it. It's been a hard, tough year when you lose friends and family, and when you start to talk about people you've worked with for a very, very long time, they're not there anymore. My hearts go out to those families that are suffering during the holiday. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and I'll see you back here, and Mr. Martin will be setting up here. Miss Holt, we're going to call you and bug you right before the meeting starts. Thank you for your service. The meeting is adjourned.